Hi and welcome to Fire Prevention Week. I'm firefighter Zach Atencio with the Thornton Fire Department. Today we're going to talk about a lot of different ways to keep yourselves and your loved ones safe in your home and in your community. I hope you have as much fun learning today as we do teaching.
Hello, welcome to Lesson 1. My name is Justin Curry with the Thornton Fire Department. You've already met my friend Zach. Today we're going to be going over kitchen safety in the home. We're starting in the kitchen because that's the #1 place where fires start in the home.
That's exactly right, Justin. This doesn't just apply to our stovetops and ovens. It can be various other appliances that we use in our kitchen, such as pressure cookers, deep fryers, toaster ovens, coffee makers. And today we're going to talk about how to use these appliances safely in our own homes. So the first thing to remember when we're cooking in the kitchen is to stay alert. When using a range top stove, or any stove for that matter, or an oven, we want to make sure our pots and pans handles are turned away from where small children or other people can bump into them or pull them down. Recognize your heat sources and use them appropriately. If ever you walk away from your stove or your cooking, be sure to turn the heat source completely off. That way there's no risk of something catching fire or someone getting injured. Always remember to use oven mitts or something that will protect your hands from heat burns directly to the hands and wrists. Whenever you're using appliances in the kitchen such as pressure cookers, deep fryers, and toaster ovens, always move them away from the edge of the countertops to avoid injury to yourself and other people in your home. Whenever you introduce a new appliance to your kitchen, always read the instruction manuals to know how to operate them safely. Be sure to log on to NFPA's website where you can get your very own Stay Out of the 3-Foot Kid-Free Zone. This is designed to be placed on the floor so small children know how far away they need to stay from where you're cooking.
When cooking with oils, always be prepared for a grease fire. When frying, always have a lid ready to be put on top of any fire that may start. Never use baking soda, because as throwing it on top may spread the fire with the spread of the baking soda. Baking soda does not work, and never throw water on top of a grease fire, which will only cause to spread the fire more. Always use an ABC fire extinguisher to put that fire out. When in doubt, get out. If your fire extinguisher is not putting out the fire, or you do not feel comfortable putting the fire out, leave your home right away, close the door behind you, and call 911.
For those of you that work in restaurants or commercial settings, we always want to make sure that we have our Class K extinguishers handy in the kitchen as well. Another thing to remember is to keep our hood systems cleaned, checked appropriately, and maintained appropriately as well.
Fun fact, oil weighs less than water. As you can see, oil and water do not mix. That's why it's so important that you never add water to any grease fire, because all you're doing is adding more surface for that oil to float on top of, which only spreads the fire that much faster. Always use an extinguisher, never use water.
So in the event of a kitchen fire, always remember to stay nice and calm. If you do suffer an injury of any kind, any burn injury while cooking, always remember to use nice, clean, cool water and to follow up with medical care appropriately. We've learned a lot about kitchen fires today, how to keep ourselves safe and our loved ones in our home and in commercial settings. Always remember, whether the fire is small or big, to always call 911, get yourselves and your loved ones out of your home, and to stay out as well. In Section 2 of Fire Prevention Week, we're going to talk about smoke alarms. Smoke alarms are going to be placed in your home to notify you in the event of a fire. Because smoke rises, we want to set these nice and tall up on our ceilings in common spaces such as living rooms, outside of bedrooms, and in anywhere we might expect a fire. So now that we've talked about where we want to place our smoke detectors, we want to check these once a month. There's a test button that we press that will let us know if it's working properly. We want to change the batteries on these twice a year. When you change your clocks, we want to change our batteries. We also want to remember that these are only good for 10 years at most. So every 10 years we want to replace our smoke alarms. Another item we want to keep in our homes is a carbon monoxide detector. We want to have one on every floor or anywhere we could have carbon monoxide, such as your garage space or where you have a water heater. We want to test them just like our smoke alarms and make sure they're working properly. So we've talked about smoke alarms, we've talked about carbon monoxide alarms. We want to make sure they're working properly and testing them accordingly. But always remember, if there's a fire in your home, that we want to call 911, get out and stay out. In Section 3 for Fire Prevention Week, we're going to talk about what to do in the event of a fire in our home. We just talked about smoke alarms and how they work, where they're placed, and what they're going to do for us. Now we're going to talk about what to do next. Again, if you refer to NFPA's website, you can print this off to build a map of your home to practice exit drills with you and your family.
Exit drills with the family. Unfortunately, there's 24 hours in the day, which means half of some fires will start at nighttime. So what I'm here to discuss is how to stay safe in your home at night in terms of fire safety and how to get out of your home safely. First question is, do we sleep with our bedroom doors open or closed? We should always sleep with our bedroom doors closed, all family members, every night. These doors will protect you from inhalation smoke and from fire while we're in our rooms. Smoke detectors are going to go off and let us know we have a fire in our house. That is a time that adults, we can now check the house to see if there's smoke. What we need to count on is that our children know to stay behind their doors until an adult comes to get them. If we cannot get to them and we do our exit drill, which Zach is going to describe, we can now know that while we're at our meeting place, if we have a family member that's not there, we can know that they are safely protected behind a doorway, not just trapped by the fire.
So now we're going to talk about ways to confirm if there is in fact a fire behind our bedroom doors. If we hear our smoke alarms going off, we'll hear that loud noise. It should wake us up in time to come over to our doors, and with the back of our hand we want to check for heat. If it's hot, we know to use our second way out as described in our EDITH plan. EDITH is exit drills in the home. We also described earlier that you can go onto the website, the NFPA website, to print off your very own map. Here's an example of what that could look like. You want to make a layout of your home that's recognizable to everyone that lives in that home. We want to have at least 2 ways out, whether it be a window, a door, or any mix of the two. We want to let our kids know also to have a meeting place, whether it be a recognizable tree, a mailbox, maybe a neighbor's home, somewhere we can get everyone together safely to call 911.
So after I've checked my door, I've seen that it's safe for me to exit the home. It is now time for me to leave. The first thing I'm going to do is call 911 and get help on the way. But one thing I want to really make sure of before I exit this home is where my smoke is. Remember, that smoke that's going up to the ceiling is now pushing back down. If smoke is right here and I've made my decision that I'm going to crawl under it, just be sure to remember that smoke is continually coming down. Don't get yourself trapped trying to get yourself out of a house that's already in danger. If that smoke is this low, make sure you step back into the room, close that door, and make sure your children are very well aware that they are to do the same. That's the way we keep ourselves safe from that smoke behind that door. Always remember, when we get out of the house, we stay out of the house. Kids, when it's time to get out, it's not time to worry about your favorite toys. Adults, that's not the time to worry about our family mementos. Even as much as we love our pets in the home, that is not the concern when we get out. Once we're out, we do not go back in for them. I can promise you this, when Zach and I arrive, we are going to do our best to come find your dog and protect your loved items.
So we've covered a lot of ground so far, and as we keep moving our way through Fire Prevention Week, now we're going to talk about heaters in our home, whether it be space heaters or fire pits in our backyard. We want to remember to make sure to recognize if there's any fire bans in the counties that we live in, that our fire pits have 3 feet around them of clear space. We have a way to cover it to reduce the chance of embers and fire coming out of the pit to keep ourselves safe, and to have a water source close, like a bucket of water, a fire extinguisher, or a garden hose. It's also important to remind our kids that matches and lighters are for adults, not for kids. Keep them out of reach of children and to always use them safely ourselves. So just like as we talked about earlier with our kitchen safety, we want to make sure to practice good grill safety as well. Always turn the grill off when you're done using it, and never walk away from it for longer than you need to. Keep your children away from your grill when you're cooking, just like we do inside, and always know how to operate it correctly, whether it be plumbed with gas or have a separate propane cylinder or any other various items that you can use to light your grill, such as charcoal. We also want to recognize other various things we use to heat our home, such as fireplaces and space heaters. Keeping our space heaters nice and clear of clutter, clothing, and other various items, only using them with proper supervision and to always unplug them when they're not in use. We also want to keep our children away from fireplaces, but we also want to enjoy the nice fall weather by keeping our homes nice and comfortable. So even through Fire Prevention Week, we want to remember that the COVID pandemic is changing this world for us even still. We want to practice good hygiene techniques, honor social distancing, and cover our faces for the protection of ourselves and others. Here's some examples of masks that can be worn appropriately. Masks such as this should be worn to cover your nose and your mouth to reduce the risk of exposures to pathogens.
Thank you for joining us for Fire Prevention Week. We at the Thornton Fire Department greatly appreciate you taking the time to help keep you and your family safe in these trying times.
If you have any questions or concerns about anything that we've talked about today or anything else you'd like to learn about, be sure to get on the city's website or to call Fire Administration with those concerns. Thank you and happy Fire Prevention Week.